What's up, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and on this week's D&D update, we're going to be talking a lot about the Underdark. We're going to be talking about some classic stuff, a couple of contests that are out there by Dungeons & Dragons, and some of the Sword Coast Legend stuff. So stay tuned. Alright guys, sorry about the delay. This video is actually supposed to come out yesterday, but right as I was in the middle of recording this, after I did the intro, I lost power. So we're here a day later, video's going to come out a day later. Sorry about that. But let's move on to the content. So, for the different things that came out for this update, we'll jump to this view here. There's this interesting article about adventures across the ages. It's got all sorts of interesting things about all different kind of major themed adventures like the Tomb of Horrors, and it goes into a little background here, shows you some of the original art. Let's see, what do we got here? We got Isle of Dread. There's a bunch of the different kind of bigger stories like Dark Sun, Sunless Citadel, Bastion of Broken Souls, some 3.5 stuff, Undermountain, so we're moving ahead, getting closer to 4th edition, and a lot of different options. A lot of these are available on dndclassics.com, which is essentially a splinter off of DriveThruRPG, where you can just download PDFs of old Dungeons & Dragons books. They are relatively cheap. You can get them usually for like $10 would probably be the most, I think. It's been a while since I've checked it out. Let's see. Unfortunately, most of those aren't updated to 5th edition rules, although there are some things there that are updated, and I know Wizards has done like some internal stuff for their streams. They've done internal updates to those, so you can check those out. So let's speaking of streams, what a great segue. There's a whole article on their website about streaming D&D on Twitch. It obviously talks a lot about Acquisitions Inc., which are the live games played at PAX back in 2010. We're going to have a little more on that in a little bit. And it has right here's all the internal D&D stuff right here. Again, these are some of the ones I was talking about. Like, you have the Temple of Elemental Evil. This was the original Temple of Elemental Evil, the 2nd edition that was updated to 5th edition by Mike Merles, and there's a bunch of different things here. You've got the Extra Life campaign right here, which was the one that they did last year, attempt to do in 24 hours. So that was through Horde of the Dragon Queen. You have the follow-up to Tyranny of Dragons, which is the second half of that, different DM, Princess of the Apocalypse. So right here, oh, and the Lost Minds of Fandelver. So these are all of the pre-written books so far. Every one of those will be available. I'm sure they're going to do an Out of Abyss one when it gets there. And then they've done a couple of other old ones redone. They talk a little bit about information about how to live stream, audio, video, different webcam setups, some software you can use, different services. I'm actually going to be working on this myself. We're working on a live stream here that we're going to do on this channel. We're not sure if we're going to do any in-person with webcams or using an online service like Roll20 or potentially Fantasy Grounds, the one that has the internal, kind of D&D rights to it. And what's also really cool is they have a list of other streams, which I thought was really neat. So you've got the people from Roleplay, you've got Critical Role, which is the Geek and Sundry one. I didn't know this. It's Datto. I know him from Destiny. Apparently he does a D&D stream. And there's a couple of other streams here with information, and again, more information about Extra Life. So if you have another D&D streamer that you like, just drop it in the description so other people can learn about it. Or, I'm sorry, in the comments, rather. But yeah, this was a really cool article, something I didn't expect, and it's nice to see them shouting out to other people that are streaming D&D stuff. Just talked about PAX and Acquisitions Inc. There's a pretty funny intro to Acquisitions Inc.'s returning to Pax Prime this year. I won't watch it, but you guys can click the link right here. Again, all these links are in the description. And just kind of an update that you're going to be able to play Out of the Abyss at PAX Prime. Let's see, it looks like they've got some Sword Coast Legends stuff there, and then there's the panel information for PAX Prime. Those of you that like Neverwinter, their big update just went live, which is the Stronghold update, which, I'll mute this in the background, but this is adding essentially guild halls to the game, and it's a really cool concept because the map that it's in is huge, and you actually have to go through and fight to take back this map. and then you can protect it from other players. You can add forges and mines and upgrade as things go on. And they talk a little bit about it. It's got Stronghold Siege 20v20 PvP, which is awesome. That'll be available the 15th of September, so a month from now. And what I also like is there's literally just a link to all of the different articles that have been, look at all these, about Stronghold. There's like 20 articles here. I like Neverwinter a lot. There's also being some other updates made to the game where they're going to make the leveling a little bit easier, so level 60 to 70 is not going to be such a grind. So if you're a fan of Neverwinter, I'm sure you'll want to go in and check this stuff out. I think there's going to be exclusive crafting. It looks like it's kind of got like a Dota thing going on. You got three, or a MOBA thing rather, you got 3 lanes. You can build siege equipment, that kind of stuff. If you're a fan of Neverwinter, check this out. We may end up doing more Neverwinter streams in the future just because of this update. So be on the lookout for that. Talking Rage of Demons, Dungeons and Dragons and We Love Fine get together and do these kind of contests all the time. We Love Fine is a great t-shirt, kind of nerdy website that does, you know, t-shirts, sweatshirts, bags, all this stuff. You see them in a lot of conventions. The big bags that people are carrying around are usually We Love Fine. And every so often they hook up with D&D, and right now they want to do there's a contest for coming up with Rage of Demons related stuff. So make something original, make stylized art, get inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons, Neverwinter, have fun, be creative, don't submit smaller versions of the same design, don't use copyrighted stuff, don't use the D&D logo. And there's an FAQ here, and the winners usually get like upwards of $500, if not more. So if you're an artist, $1,000, there you go. And it needs to be submitted by September 8th. So if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons and you're an artist, you like drawing, why not give it a shot? Sword Coast Legends was a Gamescom. You can go make sure you check out their Twitch channel. Sword Coast Legends, for those of you that don't know, is this upcoming game where it's the most, I'm going to call it the most Dungeons and Dragons experience that you can have on a computer without actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. Someone plays the Dungeon Master and other people play the actual game. And the Dungeon Master can put in traps and monsters, and as things happen, the DM gains experience that allows them to then summon other things into the game, while the players continue to play through the game, you know, fighting the monsters and things that the DM sets up. Oh, I've got this much DM experience, let me put a trap here. Let me summon this boss. And like the boss and everything will be auto-attacking, but the DM could choose to then take over the boss and actually control them. So it's a really cool concept for a game. They do a lot of streams. They're at all the major conventions. They did really well at E3 this year as well. So it's worth checking that out. To continue with the princes and, you know, the demon lords that they did, I guess because Zuggtmoy is a queen, not a prince. Thinking of elemental evil, but they put out on their Tumblr more information on, I guess it's Zuggtmoy, is my guess on how you pronounce it, but the Demon Queen of Fungus. We got was it Demogorgon last week. So what's interesting again in all of these is it's in the Underdark and they all have this type of madness and they do different things. So Zuggtmoy's madness causes hallucinations that can shatter a subject's reality and begin a slow process of self-destruction. It talks about how it manifests and, you know, a couple other FAQ stuff here. Then there's you know, how it was made and some concept art. But what's really cool is, unlike what they did with the last reveal, this is actually the page out of the Rage of Demon, or out of the Abyss book. So it shows, you know, a little bit of background here, all that stuff, but it also has the lair actions, which is pretty cool. Just be able to summon violet fungi or gas spores to 4 creatures that can, she can see, use their reaction, plant creatures rather, use their reaction and speed to move and make 1 attack. And uses either her infestation spores or mind control spores centered on a mushroom or other fungus within her lair instead of on herself. So that's really neat. And that's pretty much all of that, except for, unfortunately, I don't have a capture device for my cell phone, but they did release the 3rd issue of Dragon Plus. If you're not familiar with Dragon Plus, it is basically Dragon Magazine, the old kind of print article, but this is now on an app on your phone. It is free to download. It's on Android and iOS. I'll put the link for the app stores to find it in the description. But it's about a 30 some odd page magazine that comes out every month. And this one has a lot of stuff, so I'm just going to flip through the articles. Again, unfortunately, I mean, I could show it to you, but I'll just flip through it. There's a whole long article all about Rage of Demons. Talks about the sanity check aspect, talks about the villains, talks about the heroes, a little bit about Drizzt, talks about the locations. And there's a whole thing about the way to play Rage of Demons. Character backgrounds, that's another thing. They did release pre-generated characters for Rage of Demons, so you could check those out. They talk about how it ties into the upcoming novel Archmage by R.A. Salvatore. There's actually a article in here as well where they interview him about that book. They talk about some of the highlights of Extra Life from last year. Top 10, a list of... this is like a whole community piece, which is really cool. So Acquisitions Inc., there's a article from Dawn Forged Cast, has a series about how to make you a better dungeon master. So that's really cool. And then they have Esper the Bard's top 10 countdown for monsters, top 10 monsters. A outline for Critical Role, the previously mentioned Geek and Sundry channel, and then again a highlight of their video of Extra Life 2014. What's great about this being an app on your phone is all those are video links. You can't just click the video and it'll take you right to it. And it, like a magazine, there are like advertisements and things. Again, here's the interview with R.A. Salvatore regarding the new book and where Drizzt is going in this series going forward. An article about Sword Coast Legends, an advertisement for more Rage of Demons stuff. There's also a lot of lore-based stuff in here. So right now, this is a Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Introduces a major new resource and players, dungeon masters in Sword Coast Legends, rather. So there's a little bit of article about the new upcoming Adventurer's Guide, Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, which is going to be coming out early October, I believe, and this is going to add expansion. It's going to add new monster, or not new monsters, going to add new classes, new class features, sub-races, things like that. Packed full of information about the history, lands, and peoples of Faerun, the great cities of the Sword Coast in the north, gods and powers of the people. Players and DMs will also learn more about the various races and classes. And then an article about what it's like to retell the history of the Forgotten Realms. So, what maps will be available, and they show a couple of different maps that are in here. What challenges did you face in creating class/race backgrounds? Which sounds like there's going to be specific new backgrounds, which is exciting. Do you have a favorite background? The one that comes with the character being the heir of something of value and the accompanying table that provides inspiration as to what it might be. It's a classic fantasy background that suits the realms well. A hero who has some mysterious item, document, bit of lore, or even a tattoo or unusual scar, which turns out to be the key to a greater story. What are your favorite characters in the book? How to choose? I like the half-elf and tiefling variant options, which pack a lot into small space in terms of customizing those races for the realms to reflect their unique heritage. I'm a big fan of the Oath of the Crown option for paladins, owing allegiance to the ideals of civilization and service to a sovereignty, nation, or deity of law and rulership, because it's perfect for chivalrous champions and the battlefield leaders. The Undying Warlock patron makes for some tough warlocks and also manages to slip in some fun multiversal references. So right there, a variant halfling, a variant half-elf, a variant tiefling, and we know the Oath of the Crown paladins and the Undying Warlock. We already heard about the Battlemaster, the Swashbuckler, and the Purple Dragon Knight. So there sounds like there's going to be a fair amount of options, at least I would guess at least one for each race and one for each class, but I guess we'll find out. There's a really cool article here. Again, I wish I could... This is pretty hard to see, but Underdark spell components. There are a lot of material components for various spells that don't really suit the Underdark, and this being a Underdark-based thing, it has a lot of variants. So, Hunger of Hadar, current material component is a pickled octopus tentacle, and it says for the Underdark, make that a stewed dark mantle tentacle. So different things like that to make it more in theme. an article about their Extra Life team, and that's it. Sorry that was quick and a little drawn out, but like I said, I will be doing a full review on Dragon Plus once I get my computer set up to capture stuff off of my phone. I'll also be doing a review on a couple of different Dungeons & Dragons mobile apps that are really useful and fun to use, some free options, some paid options, and things like that. But that's it, guys. That's my article, or my little review on update on Dungeons & Dragons for the week of August 10th to August 14th. Check back next Friday, Saturday, when I'll be releasing the next video about next week's news. Hopefully we'll be getting some more Sword Coast Legends stuff next week, and again, I'm sure we'll get another Demon Lord as well. So I guess we'll see what happens, and I'll see you guys next week.